Hey there YouTube. So today I'm going to talk with you guys about why I chose the 2018 Elantra over the 2019 model, as when I purchased the car, both of them were available. But before I do that, I have to let you guys know that I saw my first car. The Honda Accord is still on the road. My mom had messaged me yesterday while she was leaving work, and she was like, look it, like this, I think this may be yours. It's just the windows look a little bit different, but the wheels and everything I think were yours, right? And so she sends me a picture, and I go, take a picture of the other side of the car, because I remember there being a dent, the bumper being slightly misplaced, and there's a scratch on the right hand side, and the fender's a different color due to the fact that when I painted the fender, the paint had already faded on the other portions of the car. So sure enough, she goes back and she takes a picture of the car. And I'm like, Mom, that's my car. I was like, look at this dent, look at that dent. I was like, look at the seat, this and that, and the bumper, it's got that scratch on it from when the table fell in the garage. The hood has a dent on it from when I hit it with a soccer ball. I was like, that's my car. And then so I go back and see it, and sure enough, it is mine. Even though the people that have it now are a little sloppy and leave their trash all over their car. I was so happy to see it on the road. It is a little bit, aged from when I got rid of it, but it still was in kicking condition. They left the transmission cooler on it, so obviously someone may have told them something, but I was so happy to see that car and the fact that it's on the road again. So it obviously probably has crossed 200,000 miles, but I'm so happy to see it. I kind of wish I would have left a note, but at the same time, I can't buy it back anyway, so it's not really a big deal. But yeah, I would have gotten rid of this car and gotten that car back in a heartbeat. But let's go ahead and talk about why I chose the 2018 Elantra over the 2019. Let's get back to the purpose of the video. So, the 2018 Elantra and the 2019 Elantra were both available at the time I purchased this car. It was in November of last year, and basically my 2015 was giving me some problems. Now, to avoid being upside down on the loan, I went back to Hyundai first, because obviously if you have one car from them and you have your dealership records, you can go ahead and trade in for a higher value. So that's what I did. So then they gave me a higher rebate on the 2018 versus the 2019 model. And even though I saw the 2019, I really wasn't too impressed by it, just due to the fact that it looks a little Prius-y and everything looks like a triangle. On top of that, the 2018 and 19 both have the same engine and the transmissions are the same. But I mean, if I were to opt to go for the 2020, I think they're trying to put that CVT that they have in the Kia Forte in the Elantra to improve the gas mileage, improve the acceleration, and basically to obviously not allow you to rebuild the transmission, because CVTs can't be rebuilt. So with that, that's probably the biggest reason I chose the 2018. On top of that, the screen in the 2019 is a little bit bigger, and it has a little bit more of like sort of a fancier car look in terms of changing it to sport mode, eco mode, so on and so forth. It'll show you here as well as the center display, but on this car it only shows you with just a push of a button. There's a little light there. Not really too impressive for me, just because, again, I'm not that picky when it comes to vehicles, as long as the technology works. But again, it wouldn't have been worth it to get the 2019 due to the fact that really, there's not much of a difference. You do have a little bit more fancy gauges, but again, it's not necessarily something that's going to be a sale breaker for me, or a deal breaker, just due to the fact that the gauges are pretty much the same. It's just the font is bigger and the lights are more bluish, whereas this one, they are black and white. The fuel gauge remains the same. The center display between the tachometer and speedo are the same. It literally goes through the same options. So basically there was just no point. Also, although I did mention that I kind of bagged on it before, the Audi look is really growing on me. The forward end of the car has a little bit of an Audi look, as well as the back end, it maintains the old Elantra look, whereas the new Elantra and Sonata lights, I'm like, what are you guys doing with these cars? They literally look like bubbles. So that's something that I particularly was not a fan of when I saw it, is just the lights. The body of the car looks fine. It looks similar to this one. However, the headlights and the tail lights, they just look so geometrical. And to be honest with you, I'm out of high school. Geometry was my sophomore year. I'm not trying to solve the triangles again. So something along that sort. The interior of the new Elantras are relatively similar to this of the 2018. Probably a little bit better in terms of material quality. However, that could be a miss. I'm not quite sure on it, just due to the fact that it's been a while since I've seen it. It's been since November. But again, the technology hasn't changed too much going into the 2019 models, so it wasn't necessarily something that I wanted to move forward with. Plus, the rebate on this car was better. I wanted the 2018 Elantra as I drove it, and I completely fell in love with it. the driving dynamics are just so much better in this car. And the 2019 has the same suspension, so it's going to drive exactly the same. But the driving dynamics in this one versus the previous generation, it was just so much different. The transmission shifted better, the engine was a little bit quieter, the gas mileage is better, the suspension quality is better. It's not necessarily so bumpy that you feel like you're colliding with everything in the road. In this car, it feels more or less planted, sturdy, and the suspension is quiet when going over speed bumps. I remember I was having an issue on the last car due to that. It was having some issues in terms of the front end making a bunch of noise while going over speed bumps. So I'm happy. I'm also happy that that car is on the road. I literally almost, like I said, when I tell you I almost cried, there were tears coming to my eyes once I saw the car. And the reason being is that, you know, that was my first car, and my grandparents gave it to me conditionally when I was in school. But then it was more or less like, you took care of the car, you were very on point with the maintenance, so we're gonna give it to you. So then, you know, it was my first car. I fixed that car, I did everything to that car, and basically it was more or less just like a moment for me to see it and be like, oh my gosh, everything that I did that, you know, within reason of course, kept it alive. So she's still alive on the road. So that made me very happy. I kind of wish I would have taken a picture of the decal that was on their car, so I'd be like, hey, I want the car back, I'll buy it from you. But then again too, I would have run into problems with it again just because of its age. But it's a Honda, that thing is gonna last forever. Well, the transmission's been rebuilt twice, but yeah. It'll probably last them a little bit longer, I hope. But that's another reason why I have this car too, is the transmissions don't normally have issues on this. So another one there, but yikes. I really hope it treats them well. I was just so happy to see it. But anyway, folks, that's why I purchased the 2018 over the 2019. I hope this provides a little bit of insight. If you do want the 2019, it is okay looking. It's just not my favorite, but I'm not gonna bag on it. Do keep in mind that Hyundai engines are a little slower, so if you're going to want it to play, you know, fun games in it, not necessarily the car for you. This specific vehicle is not quick by any means. It's a little fun car to drive. I mean, it is playful, but it's not fast by any means, and you're going to be disappointed if that's why you're purchasing the car. Remember, the engine only makes 147 horsepower and 135 pound-feet of torque, so it's really not that powerful, but paired with the 6-speed, or in this case, it'll be the CVT next year, you guys won't be disappointed if you're looking for something that's at least a little fun to drive along with good fuel economy. So with that, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go and reminisce about the fact that my old car is still on the road, and we'll kind of go from there. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comments section, and I will hopefully be able to do an interior review of the 17 Outback. I tried yesterday and failed miserably. I was just really tired and I was stuttering, so not necessarily something that was particularly fun to do when you were just kind of sitting in the car. You were like, oh, I could have done it, and then like 10 minutes wasted and you're like, shit, that actually sounded horrible. All right, guys, so I'll catch you all later. Have a good one, and I will see you soon.